In the church, we dedicate babies. We celebrate weddings and anniversaries. We also bid farewell to those who passed away. But what happens when the pastor of the church, the spiritual leader, dies? That then puts the church in turmoil. The church, the Jericho City of Praise in Landover, Maryland, once one of the largest megachurches in America. The spiritual leader, Apostle Betty Peebles, its pastor.
I want you to drop the name Jericho and just call it the City of Praise. He said, because that's what it's going to be, and it is the City of Praise.
After she died in 2010, her son, Joel Peebles, expected to take over after serving over 20 years as associate pastor at Jericho City of Praise.
Anybody feel what I'm saying? I got my joy no matter what hits my life. My joy is not dependent on people, on issues.
But he was cast out of Jericho and now conducts services in a high school auditorium.
Somebody say his word. Somebody say his word. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thousands of followers of his mother, Apostle Betty Peebles, came with him, like Paulette Shelton, a Jericho member for 15 years.
I basically follow him because he's such a good example setter. His mother, Apostle Betty, had taught us very well the word, and just watching her son lead us, I mean, he's doing the same thing. He's teaching us the word. He's showing us by his own example.
For others, like longtime Jericho member and general counsel, Elder Bobby Henry, the church is not the building. The church is the people.
God no longer dwells in temples. God dwells within us. We are the temple of God.
The task of making a temple out of an auditorium falls to Tree Walters, who had been a member of the old Jericho City of Praise since he was 9.
We meet the demands of what we would normally do at the old church, but we just mobile now. We come here every Sunday morning, we set up for service. We have a whole sound system, video ministry that we have to set up.
Hey, Tom, give me the first 2 tones.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
How Joel Peebles came to be preaching in this high school auditorium and not at the Jericho City of Praise involves a deathbed controversy, a bitter court battle, and a literal casting out.
The Jericho Church has a very, very distinguished history. It was initially started as a family church back in 1962 in the Kenilworth area of Washington, D.C. It was started by Bishop James R. Peebles Sr. and his wife, Betty Peebles, and they stayed in that Kenilworth area until we purchased, at that time, about 78 acres in Landover, Maryland in 1995 for approximately $7.2 million in cash.
It is on this spot they built Jericho City of Praise, which in its heyday boasted 19,000 members. Today, the church property spans 150 acres. Jericho City of Praise was rich in members, in spirit, and in cash. In addition to the 10,000-seat sanctuary, the monthly offerings ran to 6 figures. There is a $52 million retirement community, a school, a lucrative parking arrangement with the Washington Redskins and their home field, FedEx Field, as well as a business center. All in all, it's estimated the Jericho City of Praise had accumulated assets
in excess of $100 million.
But then, after the death of Bishop James Peebles in 1996 and his wife Apostle Betty Peebles in 2010, it all went wrong. The casting out occurred in 2012 as Joel Peebles was escorted out of the church by police in a dispute over collections.
This is the Bible that my father, Bishop Peebles, had.
But the drama began 2 years earlier as his mother, Betty Peebles, was dying from cancer. She met with a small group of Jericho City of Praise officials who claimed she told them to keep her son from assuming control of the church and its financial operations. The son, Joel Peebles, argues that as his mother's top assistant, the group doesn't have the power to block him. Eventually, the church group fired Joel Peebles as pastor. The battle rages on in the courts.
And I believe sometimes you have to go through the fire. Everything that is worth something has to go through a fire.
If I hold on to God long enough, in the end, I'm going to be okay. And that spilled out to the congregation. And in their personal situation, they now know that they're going to be okay. So we all heal together.
My parents would be glad to know that we are trying our best to take care of God's children. We want to make sure that we help as many souls as possible find Christ and find some real peace in their life.
Who will eventually control the spiritual and financial life of Jericho City of Praise is still not clear. But what is clear is that faith has sustained parishioners and pastors alike, wherever they may worship.